स्वामी यतीश्वरम् भावातीतं भवहरं वन्देऽहं परमं गुरुं वन्देऽहं परमं साधुप्रियं कृपाब्धिं च शान्तमूर्तिं तपोनिधिं शिष्यप्रशिष्य रूपेण बोधकं गुरुमाश्रये बोधकं गुरुमाश्रये अम्बा शाम्भवी चन्द्रमौलिरबला अपर्णा उमा पार्वती काली हैमवती शिवा त्रिनयनी कात्यायनी भैरवी सावित्री नवयौवना शुभकरी साम्राज्यलक्ष्मी प्रदा चिद्रूपा परदेवता भगवती श्रीराजराजेश्वरी श्रीराजराजेश्वरी ओंकारं बिन्दुसंयुक्तं नित्यं ध्यायन्ति योगिनः कामदं मोक्षदं चैव ओंकाराय नमो नमः। त्रयीं तिस्रो वृत्ति त्रिभुवनमथो त्रीनपि सुरा अकाराद्यैर्वर्णैः स्त्रिभिरविदधत्तीर्णविकृतिः तुरीयं ते धाम ध्वनिभिरवरुन्धानमणुभिः समस्तं व्यस्तं त्वां शरणदगृह्णात्योमिति पदम्। Ardent seekers of knowledge, the today's topic of our discussion is Om. This monosyllabic mantra O is the beginning of the Vedas. When the Om is uttered, it indicates that something has commenced, something very, very auspicious has commenced. And with the commencement of the auspicious, everything what follows is also auspicious. Hence we understand that this O is the commencement of the whatever we think has commenced. Om has got many other synonyms. Some of the synonyms are Pranavaha, Pranavaha, and then it is also called as Om is also called as Omkara. If you very closely observe, you understand that the monosyllable O, it is a sound. And when you say sound, it involves a certain articulation. And this sound is produced by a will. So when you have to utter the monosyllable O, automatically the first thing what a person should do is to will that he has to utter the letter O. So from the will starts the emanation of the sound O. So I will show you how this Om can be uttered. The first way of uttering the O is completely reciting the full sound without breaking the note. I shall repeat again. I shall repeat once again. If you closely observe, then you will note that O or the sound O has started with the opening of the mouth, and gradually the opening of the mouth slowly proceeds to the closing of the mouth in a very systematic manner. And when you split this letter O, you will find that it has got two vowels, one consonant, and then one more humming sound. The first vowel sound is the second vowel sound is and the third vowel sound is third consonant conjoined with one humming sound is all the three put together form the Omkara or the Pranava. I repeat the names of the Om. Om is also called as Pranava, or it is also called as Omkara, Pranavaha or Omkara. So you will find in many places that the Om sound has been either called as Omkara or Pranava. Now what exactly is Om? Now when you try to understand the sound Om, you will find that, as I have already done, it consists of three different articulations of two vowels and one consonant and one humming noise. This is as far as the sound aspect of Om is concerned. Then we have the second aspect called as the interpretation or the understanding of Om. What does it represent? In the beginning of my talk, I recited a verse which goes like this: Omkaram bindu sanyuktam nityam dhyayanti yoginah kamadam mokshadam chaiva omkaraya namo namaha. In the beginning of my talk, I have recited this verse, which is actually the meaning of this Om itself. Omkaram means Om. Bindu Sanyuktam means conjoined with the sound of in the end. That's Bindu. Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginaha. Nityam means every day. Dhyayanti means contemplate. Yoginaha means yogis. Kamadam means fulfiller of all wishes. Mokshadam means giver of liberation. Omkaraya namo namaha means I bow down to Omkara. I worship Omkara. Because Omkara or Om itself is an object of worship. It is also called as Pranavaha. Pranavaha means that which is worshipped because of being a denotion of the ultimate reality. Or in other words, it also means the complete unification of the Trinity. When we say Trinity, what do we understand? This requires a little analysis. We find that this phenomenal world comprises of three main activities. The first main activity is called as Srishtihi. Srishtihi means creation. Srishtihi means creation. And then you find the second activity called as Sthitihi. Sthitihi means preservation. And the third activity is called as Layaha. Layaha. Laya means dissolution or destruction. So now you find that three activities, main activities, are seen in the world, in this phenomenal world, called as Srishti, which means creation, and then Sthiti, which means preservation, and then Laya or Vinasha, which means dissolution or destruction. So, and then ultimately you find, if you apply your mind, although we may not be able to experience it immediately, if you apply your intellect, you will find that there is a time when nothing is created at all. For example, if you take a wonderful art, like a painting, the painting was not there before. It was not there before. There was no painting before. And initially the painter or the artist, he perceived what he wanted to paint in his mind. So this is a state where there is no painting or no creation at all. A state where there is no creation, where the complete concept of the painting, the act of the painting, and the creation, preservation and dissolution or destruction of the painting is there only in the mind of the artist. It is there in a seed form. Seed is called as Bijam. In Sanskrit it is called as Bijam. So the whole painting, whether it is, if you take whether it is a painting of a wonderful scenery, or a painting of a modern art, or a painting of Mona Lisa, or a painting of any other beautiful picture, you will find that the concept of painting was earlier existing in the mind of the painter. It was, in what form was it? It was in the form of a thought. Earlier there was no painting. It was in the form of a thought. And then later on, gradually the will developed. And then he makes arrangements for the required things like a canvas background, and then the painting board, the brushes, the paint, etc. And gradually he starts putting the colors onto the painting board. Then he has now started creation. Creation, Srishti. Now he is slowly creating a painting. And then gradually he starts painting. He converts his thoughts. He converts his thoughts